What if the most unsettling moment in your life isn't losing someone, isn't failure, isn't heartbreak, but the quiet, terrifying instant when you finally stop pretending to be someone you're not? Stay with me. Because what Carl Jung discovered about authentic self-emergence will completely reframe everything you thought you knew about transformation. Most people spend their entire lives performing, not consciously, not maliciously, but performing nonetheless, shaping their personality around what was rewarded, softening the edges that made others uncomfortable, becoming fluent in a version of themselves that the world found acceptable. And then one day, something shifts. Jung called it the moment the mask becomes unbearable. Here's what nobody prepares you for when you begin becoming yourself. The people around you will not celebrate it, not immediately, not all of them. Because here's what Jung understood that most people miss entirely. The people in your life didn't fall in love with you. They fell in love with your persona, the carefully constructed version of you that made them feel safe, needed, comfortable. The you that was predictable. The you that always said yes. The you that never asked for too much. When the real you begins to surface, it doesn't just change you. It changes every dynamic around you. And some of those dynamics will not survive it. According to Carl Jung's theory of the persona, we construct our public mask very early in life. Not from weakness, but from intelligence. A child learns quickly which parts of themselves are welcomed and which parts need to disappear. The sensitivity gets buried, the anger gets buried, the ambition, the wildness, the refusal to comply, all of it gets buried in what Jung called the shadow. And for years, sometimes decades, you carry this shadow silently, wondering why you feel hollow in rooms full of people who love you, wondering why success feels like performance, wondering why you're exhausted by a life that looks perfectly fine from the outside. That exhaustion isn't weakness, it's the shadow asking to be integrated. Here's where it gets profound. And this is the part that will completely shift how you understand the resistance you're feeling. Jung discovered that the journey toward authentic selfhood, what he called individuation, is not comfortable. It was never designed to be. Because becoming yourself requires something most people are never willing to do. It requires disappointing people. Not carelessly, not cruelly, but inevitably. The moment you stop shrinking, someone will call you selfish. The moment you establish a boundary, someone will call it coldness. The moment you redirect your energy toward what actually matters to you, someone will frame it as abandonment. Jung was direct about this. He said that the most difficult thing in the world is not achieving success. It is remaining true to yourself while the world attempts to reshape you in its own image. The resistance you encounter when you begin to change isn't evidence that you're doing something wrong. It's evidence that you're doing something real. But here's what most people don't understand about this process. And this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. When you finally begin to become yourself, grief arrives first. Not joy, not liberation, grief. Because becoming yourself requires grieving the version of you that kept everyone else comfortable. That version worked hard. That version sacrificed quietly. That version deserved recognition it never fully received. You don't discard it lightly. Jung called this the necessary mourning of the false self, a process that cannot be rushed and must not be skipped, because if you skip the grief, you skip the understanding. And without understanding where the mask came from, you will simply build another one. And now comes the part that changes everything. Jung discovered that once the mourning passes, and it does pass, something unprecedented begins to happen. The people, opportunities, and situations in your life begin to reorganize themselves around your authentic frequency. Think about what this means. The relationships built on the performance version of you begin to loosen. Some will fall away entirely. This feels like loss. Jung saw it differently. He called it the clearing of psychological space, the necessary contraction that precedes expansion. Because simultaneously something else begins to happen. People who resonate with the real you begin to appear. Opportunities aligned with your actual values begin to surface. Doors that were always closed because they were never meant for the persona begin to open. This isn't mysticism. Jung understood it as a psychological law. When you stop sending a false signal, you stop attracting responses to a false signal. Here's what Jung observed about the people who completed this process. The ones who went all the way through, they became extraordinarily still, not passive, not indifferent. Still, there is a difference, and it is everything. The frantic energy of someone constantly managing their image disappears. The exhausting vigilance of monitoring how others perceive you dissolves. In its place arrives something Jung called psychological groundedness, an internal stability that does not require external confirmation to remain intact. You stop needing people to agree with you to trust yourself. You stop needing approval to act. You stop requiring someone else's recognition to know that what you're doing matters. This is not arrogance. Jung was precise about this distinction. Arrogance is the shadow of insecurity. What emerges through authentic individuation is something quieter and far more powerful. It is certainty. But here's the part that will send chills down your spine. When you finally become yourself, you become fundamentally harder to manipulate. Jung understood why. Manipulation, every form of it, operates by targeting the gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be. Guilt trips work on people who have suppressed their boundaries. Emotional withdrawal works on people who have made someone else responsible for their inner stability. Gaslighting works on people who have learned to distrust their own perception. The individuated person, the person who has integrated their shadow, claimed their authentic self and stopped performing, closes that gap. There is nothing to leverage, no buried resentment to exploit, no suppressed need to manipulate, no performance to threaten with exposure. They become, in Jung's precise language, psychologically sovereign. And here's the final truth, the one that makes this entire journey not just worthwhile but inevitable. Becoming yourself is not a destination. Jung was clear about this. Individuation is not something you complete. It's something you practice, daily, imperfectly, courageously. There will be days when the old mask feels safer. There will be moments when shrinking seems easier than standing in your full size. There will be relationships that tempt you back into the performance, back into the shape you used to inhabit. And in those moments, you will feel the difference now. Because once you've tasted the quiet dignity of being genuinely yourself, the performance becomes impossible to sustain. Jung spent his entire life studying what happens to people who choose authenticity over approval. And what he found was consistent across every culture, every background, every circumstance. They become less impressive to more people, and deeply essential to the right ones. They stop being everything to everyone, and start being something real to someone. They trade the exhausting breadth of surface-level connection for the profound depth of genuine recognition. And in doing so, they discover what every human being is ultimately searching for beneath every performance, every mask, every carefully managed impression, the experience of being known. Not the curated version, not the acceptable version, not the version that made everyone comfortable, the real one. And Jung's greatest insight, the one his life's work returned to again and again, was this: that self was never lost. It was waiting, with extraordinary patience, for you to finally stop running from it. And the moment you do, the moment you choose yourself fully and without apology, everything that was never truly yours falls away. And everything that always was begins to find its way home.